Hi guys, welcome to my career series as promised. Welcome to the Dear Nigeria podcast, and today I am going to be starting my career series, and I call it series because I've had a really long career and I really don't know how long this conversation with you guys is going to take. Let's get started. I am your girl Tasha, and I started the career series on Instagram and on TikTok, and it has had a lot of great reviews, and you asked for a longer, lengthy one, so here it is. First, I want to apologize for taking too long to start this, but as you know, a girl is very busy, hands in a lot of pies, so I barely have the time. But now that I do, here I am, fulfilling my promise. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to start from the very beginning. I lost my dad when I was 8, and before he died, what I wanted to be was a model, a dancer, and probably an actress, but I wasn't really keen on the acting part. But you see that dancing and that modeling, it was very important to me that I did that. Now, my dad, on the other hand, was not hearing it. Like, the guy was not hearing it. He was not here for it. He wanted me to be a doctor. And we had a lot of battle on that because as young as 5 years old, I already knew that anything science was not my thing. Not because I did not have interest in them, but because mathematics was whipping my ass. Like, it was really dealing with me. I really was finding it so hard to just understand it. And of course, I knew from my teachers that you can't really be a doctor if you're not very good at math. So it was a thing for me. Anyway, my dad wanted me to be a doctor, and after a couple of years of battling, we settled on, okay, fine, you can be a dancer, but you must be a doctor. Doctor, main career, dancing, whatever, or like a side hustle or something. But it wasn't called a side hustle then. We used to call it like a side project for me. And so my dad died, and my entire life changed. Like, my entire life spinning on its axis and just threw me somewhere that I did not understand what was happening. I was 8 when he died, and I went from being a very sheltered kid to just being I don't know what to call what I was at that time, but like it wasn't what I expected, so it was very sad for me. I had to stay. I went back to the village with my stepmom and my family to go bury my dad, and then afterwards, after the funeral, of course, everyone just goes on their way and then you're just there. So I stayed in the village for about a year, and within that year, there was nobody to pay school fees, nobody to take care of me and all this stuff. But I knew that I had to figure it out, because every year, once a year, my dad makes me promising that no matter what happens, I am going to continue my education to the highest level that I want to go. And I didn't understand it at the time. Like, I was a young child, but I was making the promise, And when he died, the promise just made sense. I was sad, I was angry at him, but I remembered the promise. So when even I couldn't figure out what to do about school, how to get on, I was barely surviving, I had to figure something out. So one day, in the middle of the night, it was windy, but it wasn't raining. And I was having issues sleeping then. I was 8 and I don't know what I was worrying about then, because now is the real life when I have things to worry about. But anyway, I wasn't sleeping and the leaves were ruffling. And I could hear the sound of the leaf ruffles from inside my room. And all of a sudden I was hearing things like very noisy sound of something falling down from a very high place. And I was like, what's happening? So I peep out the window and I see people with buckets picking mangoes from the floor. So in my compound, my father's house, we have this really massive mango tree. very, very big, guys, like very big. Like it's so big that like you could see from a very far distance. And of course, during the time of harvest, it has like a lot of fruits, like lots and lots of fruits. The tree is so big and it has a lot of fruits. So if when it falls, you can't like pack everything, and even if you pack as much as you can't consume everything. And so the next day I went into the market to do like a brief survey, meet some of the market sellers, ask them about their suppliers, their fruits and everything. And the good thing about our mango tree was that the fruits were very delicious, so juicy, very juicy. It was rare to see a mango that juicy within my village. So I also went along with some tasting. They tried it, they loved it. They told me to come back the next day, that if I have any, they will buy. And that was how my entrepreneurship journey started. So that middle of the night, of course, while on my way back from the market, I already borrowed the drum with the big covers. So when the mango falls, I go with a small bucket, I pack, I go and point to the drum. Like that till the drum was filled up. And I made sure that I hid the drum in the room I was staying, which was my dad's room at the time, because I didn't want anyone to know. And so the next day I'll take a little bucket to the market, they'll buy it, I'll come back, take it. Within the week I already had like enough to get like my books, some of the books for school, but I did not have enough for the school fees yet. But by the end of that month I had enough for my first term school fees. Now because I already missed like 2 months out of the new school year, I had to be taking down one class at the school. I didn't mind, and so I resumed school and I continued to sell the mango. So that was my first job, and it really tided me over until a year later, when one of my dad's best friends came from Lagos to come pick me up to stay and live with his family. And no, it's not good news, because it was the worst 7 years of my life. The worst 7 years of my life began. But that's a story for another day. Let's focus on this one. So I think my second job was when I was 14. I was still living with my dad's best friend and his family, but you know, I was fending for myself and everything. And to be able to do that and still be able to buy books for school, and it took me like about a month to be able to save up enough to be able to pay my school fees, enroll in school and start. And so that was how I was able to pay for school fees, and I went to school for a year. I continued to sell the mango. I included other fruits. At a point I was roaming around the village. Every single family that just had a new child, like a new kid, I would gather all the kids my age, and we'll go there, we'll pray for the babies, and sometimes they will pay us, sometimes they will not pay us. So that was additional income for me. And then a year later, one of my dad's best friends came from Lagos to come pick me up to come live with them. And no, it was not a good thing. That was like the beginning of the worst 7 years of my life, but that's a story for another day. My second job was when I was like 15 up until 17. I worked in a record label, and funny enough, that was not the only record label I ended up working for throughout my career journey. Yeah, it was the most fun of my life. Working in the record label was like the most fun for me. And the saddest part was that I wasn't paid cash, like they were not paying me salary. My salary was, my payment was with studio time. They paid me in kind. They gave me studio time and I worked for them. And I occupied multiple roles. I did multiple things. I was a songwriter, backup singer, choreographer, dancer, because I was in every music video that any artist in that record label was putting out. I danced. I was like a video vixen. It was amazing though. It was really amazing because it helped my creativity a lot. So back then I used to sing. Maybe someday I will play you guys something I sang. But yes, back then I used to sing, and so I wrote a lot of songs as well. We had a lot of amazing artists that recorded out of that record label. We had Sound Sultan, Wizkid, Two-Face. We had a lot of artists, like amazing artists. Like it was like being in a park for me. I was having the time of my life. You would not believe how many OG songs your girl actually wrote. And if you know me from way back, when I used to be on radio, when I used to be on OAP on radio, you'll remember my show, the early morning show, my music show, Throwback Thursday show, where I played Throwback Thursday music, and I gave you guys lots of gists, like lots of information that not a lot of people know about artists back then, music back then, lots of stuff. This was how I got to be in the thick of things, and this is how I got to know those things, by working with these people, by being with these people, and by partying with these people. Yeah, it was amazing. And the funniest thing was how respectful and how protective these artists were back in the day. Like, they were like my bodyguard, and shout out to them. They were so amazing to me. It was a great working experience, to be very honest. And when I finally left, I missed it so much. I missed it. I missed writing songs. But one of the things that working in a record label taught me back then was dominating with your voice. Now let me break that down. And that is actually helping me now at my age. I learned back then, because back then, I wasn't the only one. I worked in that record label, and there were lots of guys there as well, lots of men. In fact, I think we were only about 2 girls. It was just me and one other girl that worked there. Every other person was a man, and there were a lot of them. And so what that does is that, they kind of like silence us a lot, like they don't let us talk, and we feel intimidated by them. And so because of that, most times they steal our work. Like, you will not believe how many songs they stole from me and presented as their own songwriting, which was terrible. But after a while, I learned how to speak up for myself, to defend myself, to dominate, to create a space for myself within that place where my work could speak for me, and I could speak for my work and myself as well. So it was really great. One of the record label owner told me one time and said, Cynthia, a closed mouth is a closed destiny. And it doesn't only apply to when you're asking for help, it also applies to when you're working. If you don't open your mouth and speak up and defend your work and claim your work, people will silence you, and they will keep taking your work and taking what is due for you from the work that you've done. And that really taught me a lot. I literally did not forget that till today. So shout out to you, Soti. I really miss you. I work with a lot of great underground producers that a lot of people, including you, don't even know these days. Like, lots of amazing producers, but a time was hard. So that was my 3rd job, and it was so much fun for me. I can't even begin to explain how much fun that work was for me. Now, down to my 3rd job, right? My 4th job was blogging. And this one, I suffered a lot. In the era of BBM and all those other shebangs and all that stuff, your girl moved into blogging. Of course, I've always wanted an avenue to write and tell my story. I have been writing for as long as I know. And you would not believe how writing and music really helped me cope with losing my dad, and it guided me throughout my childhood to my teenagehood. So writing is a big part of who I am. And so I started a blog on WordPress, and I built this blog myself. And it's incredible that I could build a blog myself 16 years ago, or how many years ago. And now I can't even tell my left from my right. I can't even design a website. And it's very sad, because I learned a lot of things growing up because I had to do them myself. I had to learn how to do it myself. If not, I don't have the money to do it. So it's either I do it myself or I just want to rest. So I built this blog myself. It was awesome. It was cool. I was just writing, penning down things. It was like my diary. I had like a Dear Diary series, and it was so popular. And back then we don't really know how to monetize these things. So it was just there like that. I think the only way I could monetize it was when I was able to, create a group where people would share lots of their I think it was BBM pins, and people could add them so that whatever they post, they'll get a lot more views, just like WhatsApp now. And you have like WhatsApp TV people that gives you contact, and you're able to so that was how I was able to monetize that one. But after a while, BBM started getting kicked out of the market, and it wasn't really a valuable business. It was not innovative enough to, to survive that era. So that was that for that business. So on to my fifth business. Do you know the funniest thing? The funniest thing is that I don't think you guys are going to believe what my fifth job was. So my fifth job, don't laugh at me, was as a okay, I can't tell you guys my fifth job, but it involved fixing something, and it was seen as very masculine, and people mocked me for it. People laughed at me, people made jest of me, but I did that because the person I was living with at the time did not want to hear you come and say, oh, this thing has gone bad, this thing has spoiled, and you say, oh, we need money to call the fixer to come and fix it. She stopped giving us money for that, but all she did was give us a mandate, or what would I call it, a mandate, that by the time she's back from work, that thing has to be working. So the only thing I could do was go under someone who used to fix that stuff to learn how to fix it, and started fixing the one at home myself whenever it goes bad, which was very frequent. And so I decided to channel that skills into earning more money. So I decided to use that opportunity to use that skill that I had gotten to make some money. And yeah, it did me well. It really did me well too. Okay, so my next job was as a choreographer. So back then I was in a dance group called Sons of Liberty. It was being run by Brian Okpara and his brother at the time. I think they had just moved back from Germany at that time. I don't know, but they were really popular. Oh my god, the girls love them, and they are such beautiful people too. So they used to teach all the street kids, anybody that wanted to learn, like basically they teach for free. And it was a privilege to be part of the Sons of Liberty dance crew, where there were lots of us, and we did a lot of amazing things. We went for Malta Guinness street dance. One of the judges was Kathy, and later on I had the privilege of also learning dance from Kathy as well. So it was like really amazing time for me. Like it was so much fun, to be honest. I learned salsa, I learned lots of dances, hip-hop, everything, and this later helped me in school as well, but long story, we're getting there. Anyway, after Malta Guinness street dance, it did get us a couple of money just here and there, and it made us popular too, so we're able to like monetize our popularity as well. So what I did was I started a dance school in my estate. So the estate I lived with my guardians in, the kids just wanted things to pass time with, and my estate always has like this annual dance competition and all that stuff. So parents used to take it very seriously, but their kids don't know how to dance. So I was like, okay, you know what? For a fee, I will teach your kids how to dance, and that's how I started a dance school for kids. And it was really amazing, to be very honest. It was honestly amazing teaching these children, watching them learn this dance, watching them recreate it on stage. I was a proud mama. And it was so great. I was doing this with some of my very best friends at that time, Sarah, Elizabeth. We even had a girl group for singing, dancing. We're also doing that in school as well. Oh my god. This story is it's so far wide. It's a lot. But I'm trying to summarize as much as I can. So that was my sixth job. My seventh job was from school. The state government then under Fashola had this thing they were doing where kids that school in public schools can earn some money by being cast or cast extras for dramas, for stage dramas. So back then we used to have it was such a big thing back then, watching stage drama, musicals, Terra Culture, Silverbird, National Theatre. We used to go there to perform
to act, get scripts, be trained. Like, it was a lot. They used to pay us like, I think 30,000 naira per week or per month. I can't really recall, it's a bit fuzzy. And that also includes our transportation to wherever it is the training for the dance drama was ongoing. Most of these dramas, we came out, when they come out, we're in the news, we're in Silverbird TV. Like, it was such a big deal back then, seeing myself on TV, seeing my friends on TV, seeing my schoolmates on TV, and still being able to earn money. So I used to earn money as an actress / dancer / singer, depending on what the stage theater performance required of me. Right? So mind you, all those things, I was still in secondary school. I hadn't even gone. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, one of my most important jobs in junior secondary school. Oh my god, amazing. One of my most memorable, not like important, one of my most memorable job was in junior secondary school. I used to write love letters. Oh my god, you guys, I used to write love letters. How did that even start? Okay, so I had this best friend in school back then. This wasn't JS1, although we've been friends since like primary school. It's the same primary school, junior secondary school, and then we lost touch in like senior secondary because I had to change school to a lesser school where I could afford to handle things. So his name was Michael. We're like really close, and he was such a pretty boy, and all those girls were always flocking around him, always wanting his attention, always trying to get him to notice them and all that stuff. Me, I was just this bald girl in school that used to bab scodos and just come to class and be a nerd, basically. And so he wanted a way to and he at the same time was also trying to get some other girls' attention. Different people, it was just a whole lot of high school dramas. He came to me and says, "Oh, I want you to write a love letter. I want to give to this person. You're like the most poetic person I know, and you read a lot." And I used to read a lot. I used to read books that are too advanced for my level. And I'm talking about romance book, novellas, novels, like big books like that. So I wrote him a love letter, and it had the desired effect. And of course, people will later ask him, "Oh, how did you get Alexandra's attention? How did you get her to like you?" and all that stuff. And he would say, "Oh, I wrote her a letter. Who wrote the letter for you?" "Oh, it was Cynthia, it was Tasha." And then everybody would come up like, "Oh, I want a letter." Then me, as the sharp bitch that I am, I'll be like, "Oh, 20 naira, 30 naira, 50 naira." 50 naira was like my highest charge. And that also depends on how long you want the letter. Do you want me to calligraph, or do you want me to just use my normal fine writing? All these little features are one of the things that makes the love letter more expensive. So I became very popular for my love letters, or more like my love letters became very popular, not me. And everything was going good. I was saving, I was eating well, I was buying my books, I was balling, really, because you would not believe how messy high school is. High school is absolutely messy. It's the ghetto. But anyway, not to divert too much, but all that came crashing down in the saddest way possible. Anyway, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to pick up at the next episode of the career series, and I can't wait for you guys and me to get into the juicy details. So I will see you on the next Dear Ninja Girl podcast episode for the career series, and I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Do not forget to follow if you're watching across social channels, and don't forget to rate me 5 stars if you're listening on any of your streaming platforms. Help me spread my podcast, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much.